Hey everyone, meteorologist Aaron Tuttle here with you. Been watching those storms for a while here and noticing those few QLCS type spin-ups. The southern edge of this line though is actually more of a supercell structure with it. So it's had some really strong rotation pickup in the last 5 minutes. So we're going to have to go ahead and cover this one because this one would produce a significant type of tornado around Retrop just north of you guys. So that's what we're going to be covering here for the remainder of the next few minutes, and we're going to start kind of tracking those little QLCS ones up the line as well, so we can try to cover as many storms across the state as possible. So let's go ahead and get you to the radar, and we're going to show you the big picture here. By the way, thanks for watching. So this will be some more laid-back, more casual coverage for you. It is a holiday weekend, and so many of us, including myself, are trying to put in a little R&R, but weather doesn't want to cooperate. Sometimes that happens. Okay, so we're down here in southwest Oklahoma. Again, here's the big picture of the state. Let me turn the radar up here on, and this guy off. Okay, get that set up. All right, so there's the big picture of the state, which has a squall line, again, all the way down here across the whole part of western Oklahoma. Do have tornado warnings in 3 areas. We'll take each one of those individually. Down here first, we'll hit the Retrop one. This particular one is the one of significant consequences, where it looks like we're going to have a potential forward tornado in the very strong EF1 category, possibly even weak EF2. When I look at the rotation tracks on there, extremely strong. It's right along the North Road 2060, intersection of 1230, coming up on 2070. So it's in that little square mile region. Let me see if there's any debris signature. There is not. So that's some good news so far, but the wind speeds within this are going to be, as I said, strong enough to produce a significant tornado. Let me look underneath this real quick. There's a small pond that this particular tornado is going over right now. Let's see, what else do we have down here? Just a couple of trees, and that's it. So even if it was producing an EF2, for example, it'd be very difficult to show up in the cross correlation coefficient, which is the radar algorithm, because there's nothing there for it to really hit other than some dust. And of course, it's been so muddy, it's not going to happen. Now, there is a work site out here with a couple of buildings in the path of this. Let's say another shed there. So a couple of work sites, another work site here. So these are not farmhouses, but just work sites. So hopefully there's no one in those little, temporary mobile home type setups for those. But anyway, that's kind of where that is located. This is again in southwest Oklahoma. This is coming west of Cordell. So if you're in Cordell, this particular supercell related type thunderstorm will be making its way toward you, and it has had a potential for producing at least some significant rotation within it, to where it looks like we've probably had a tornado out of it, or at least very close to having one. And we'll see what the storm spotters end up reporting on that, if they're even able to see it. Sometimes it gets rain wrapped and it won't be easy to see. Okay, so let's go up the road. That's the first one. Fairview, you guys, there's a circulation center east of you coming up on Isabella. Let's take a look at this view as well. Circulation, this is weak. So this is again one of those QLCS type ones. It's going to be East Road 530 and 2590. So that's the intersection of where that circulation is located, moving to the east and northeast. So Isabella, again, passing just to the north of you, so just be in your shelters. Likely coming up along Highway 58 and 8 here momentarily. Further up the road, we have an actual official funnel cloud reported. That came halfway to the ground. Could not see any ground circulation, was brief and has since dissipated. And this is looking back west toward Byron, and back when that occurred. Let's see, lately I'm not seeing any strong circulation centers at all. And if you saw the tweet that I sent out in the post from the weather service, from the Facebook and whatnot, you noticed that in this particular cases for these QLCSs, a lot of the times they only last about a minute or two, and when the warning comes out, the warning is for about a 45-minute block of time. So a lot of times those warnings are put out, and then the tornado's already lifted and it's gone, and there won't be another one. So you'll be under a tornado warning even though there's no more QLCS type tornadoes. Now that doesn't mean another one can't form, but that's kind of how those things work. So even though you're under a tornado warning, does not necessarily mean that particular QLCS tornado still exists, because they usually don't last that long. Okay. So again, Isabella, stay in your shelters for that one. Let's see, the circulation for Cherokee, they will let that one go. So there's no new tornado warning for it. This is just the old one that's to be dropping off here in northern Oklahoma. So in other words, that's nothing to be concerned with right now. The Fairview one, again, is super weak, but there's a really tiny circulation here on Isabella, so just pay attention to that one. Otherwise, most of the attention is down here in southwest Oklahoma, and rightfully so, and we'll see what the latest is with this one. And it's completely vanished. Just in the last 3 minutes here, it went from something significant to much weaker. Oh, hold on. Let's go back down. Sorry, hold on. Wrong storm. It's on the Isabella storm. That one's the one that vanished. Okay, so let's see. Latest with this, it has gotten weaker. It's good. Hasn't vanished yet, but it's become broad and a little weaker. So that's a good sign. Let's see here. You check some of the parameters with it. The rotation track here, earlier we had deep red, as you see there, and now we've just got the gold, so again, that's a weaker signal as well. Cross correlation coefficient, I never saw any blue, in other words, for tornado debris, so that's again a good sign, even though I kind of told you why that might be a case, just because there's really nothing out there for this tornado to pick up and throw around. Let's see here. So this is going to be the case with this. Latest position, by the way, for this one. Let's see. We're coming up on North Road 2080 and East Road 1230 is the last known broad circulation with that. Again, heading up toward 152, and it's going to cross west of Highway 44. Matter of fact, the new, stronger end of the circulation is now moved up to the north on this meso, and so since it's jotted north, it's going to be a little bit more of a northward track than the Weather Service has. In other words, the Weather Service had this track, then they had this track, well, now they're going to have this track. And that's how sometimes those things evolve. They'll start in one position, they'll rotate north as the system moves east, so that affects the track on these. So that's why you have to have something like the weather app, which will track it scan by scan and drag the arrows for you, and those arrows will tell you the path this thing's going. So the latest on this one, let's see, where are we? We're at still 2070, and East Road 121 is the closest type of intersection, even though those two roads don't meet. It's south of 1200, and this is basically 2 miles south of 152 along 2070 is where this is located. Now this will be a northwest of Sentinel, west of Dill City. So this is one circulation there, right here. That's the best one. There's a secondary circulation trying to develop here, northwest of Sentinel. So you're going to have a wall cloud with that one, but you're going to have the tornado with this one. So you'll end up having dual wall clouds and dual potential tornadoes. Had a few of those this week, 2 tornadoes at the same time. So if you're asking about Oklahoma City, they are a long ways away. I mean, they'll eventually here approach El Reno, but we're talking still another hour to 2 before it's even knocking on your door. And by then, the squall line should weaken as we get later in the evening, especially past 9 o'clock. The tornado threat continues to diminish quite rapidly. So just so you understand that, so I'm hoping then by the time it gets here into the central part of the state, the tornado threat's pretty much gone. But we'll have to deal with more heavy rainfall and pockets of damaging wind for a little lag in that. And then, kind of like last night, just becomes a rainmaker for that area. Okay, let's take a look at Fairview again for Isabella. You guys should be in your shelters for this one. It's already kind of moving through that area. However, the good news is that the circulation has been diffuse, ill-defined. Matter of fact, I can't even find the old one anymore. It's gone completely, so that's good. There might be a new one east of town forming. Very broad on that aspect. We're way high up there though, 7,000 feet. So I'm gonna have to switch radar sites because that's too high. And then we'll drop back down to southwest Oklahoma again. Let me take a look at the wind shear for this region. So the wind shear is not that conducive for a tornado, a typical tornado. This wind shear is squall line wind shear. So this is a QLCS type wind shear in northern Oklahoma. So that's why you're not going to get the supercell type tornadoes up here, and why the most you can get these little weak ones. Okay, so new circulation here just southeast of Isabel looks like trying to get going. That's on North Road 2650 and East 550. And that'll be drifting up to the north and east. That'll be a new one. Old one is right along 58, Highway 58, north out of Isabella, and let's see, what is that, 2640 road and East 470 road, and that's also weak. But again, those are the two circulation centers. There's little pockets of wind. There's one around Helena, so that could end up becoming a little QLCS tornado moving through just to your north on 58. There's another little, let's see, I already got that one, so that's 3 there. We'll go south. Okay, got to go back into southwest Oklahoma, so I'm going to do that here. Let me just look at this real quick. Yeah, Helena, that's probably one just northwest of you by about 2 miles. So you'll have a teeny tiny tornado out of that one. And when I mean teeny tiny tornado, I'm talking about the E of 0, probably is about 30 yards in diameter and very weak. Just so you guys know, easily survivable with adequate shelter. So we'll see. Okay, we're going to go down back into southwest Oklahoma. And I'm probably going to have to run 2 of these. Because I'm gonna have to go too many back and forth radar views. It takes too long to do it individual. Okay, so let's go here. So again, wall cloud probably on this little region, and where'd it go? And then the other one with the potential tornado here in this area. Okay, so the tornado would be at, let's get a road on here for you, north-south 208 and 1210, which is 2 miles south of 152 on 208, or is that 280? Excuse me, 2080. So 2080 and 152 is where this tornado is located, just south by about 1.5 miles. So I'll be crossing over 152 here momentarily, which is going to be outside of Dill City by about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 miles. West of 44, it's about 5 miles west of there. The other mesocyclone area trying to produce a tornado is located over north-south 211 Road and 1240, which is 3 miles west of 44. And that's well northwest of Sentinel and well southwest of Dill City. So that's that particular setup there. All right. Let's use... Let's see here. Yeah, we'll use this one. Okay, and now I'm going to go down and look at the wind shear in southwest Oklahoma, and then we'll look at the wind shear in central Oklahoma so we can show you the difference if there is any. Okay, southwest Oklahoma. Honestly, it's also more squall line-ish. Very little turning, which surprises me to even get that type of a tornado signature that we had. That's rare to get that in that case. Probably the only reason why is it's on the tail end, so it's got a little better environment, a little better orientation as far as the track, how it creates its own wind shear in the environment. So it's got a little bit better turning only because of the position of the storm and its movement versus the rest of the line. So it's all about perpendicular to vectors and all this other stuff. So that's the only reason why that one's doing any better than the other ones, which is a good sign. It just means that the rest of the line doesn't have that type of luxury. All right, so that was that. Okay, northern Oklahoma again. Let's jump back in here. So a little spot of wind. Let's do this. Give me it. Okay, a little area of wind just north of Helena by about 1.5 miles, right up on 58 and East Road 310. So maybe a potential small tornado possible there. Let's go down the line. The other one is around Ames. So be in your shelter for Ames, coming up on Ames Road and North Road 2690, so basically just a mile outside of town. So be in your shelter for that potential tornado. So that's 2 there here in northern Oklahoma. And those again are those QLCS ones. Those are the weak ones. And sometimes maybe all you'll see is like a little wall cloud looking thing or a halfway down funnel, and that's all you'll ever get out of it. Doesn't always mean you're going to get the actual tornado part touched down, but those are the two favorite areas should there be one occurring. Okay, let's go back here into southwest Oklahoma, see how this storm is doing. The mezzo north of Sentinel's falling apart, not doing much. The one back into the northwest that's curled up still looks pretty. New scan just came in. I want to take that back. It's broadened and it's weakened. So in other words, the strong winds are here and the strong winds are here. And what do you see in between? You see null. You see weakness. You see a non-tornado. They have to be, again, tight. We have to be a couplet, not a broad picture. So that tornado's done, which is good news for you guys in Dill City. However, we're going to want to monitor this for a while in case a new one tries to develop, which it's got a mesocyclone look to it. So in this area, you can easily have something new that develops and then rotates in along the leading edge. So we'll see if anything changes there. Okay, so let's go back up. And with that said, with the only tornado then possible right now is the one up in northern Oklahoma around Ames, and like I said, it's very, very weak. It's going through the city right now though, so you guys in Ames just stay in your shelters until it passes. I am not overly impressed with it, by the way, just so you know. It's just, I'm trying to find you a QLCS tornado embedded in this nonsense, and that's one of the areas. Same with Helena, that little area of possible circulation has moved well northeast of you now, about 2 miles. Puts it on East Road 310 and 2680, moving to the north and east. Okay, so it turns out, good. My storm chasers are on that one down in southwest Oklahoma, and when they were watching that secondary area of circulation, the one that wasn't rain wrapped, they had a nice picture of a wall cloud, but that's all it was. So no tornado there. And since then, that circulation has ended. Awesome on live. Turn on. Okay, turn this my little Getner on. Everybody's got to have a Getner, so I got a Getner. Let's see. It's basically a communication path, one-on-one. Oh. Softball size hail. Okay. Let's see up here in northern Oklahoma if anything's changed. Negative. Not much in Kansas either. There's no tornado warnings in Kansas, by the way, just to let you guys know. Okay, so the little spot of Ames continues to kind of weaken. There's a one north of there, just a convergence line. What's this in Ringwood? Anything? Not necessarily. Okay, we're going down south. This is turning into just basically our rainmaker again, and we've dropped the risk of tornadoes here temporarily for the time being. So Dill City, we had some good news for you. So the storm had tried to recycle, got cut off from the inflow and rain wrapped, and then broadened out on its velocity structure. So we'll have to see if it retightens as it comes into town, but that's some sigh of relief for you for a little bit. Even the rotation track here in green is no longer yellow, orange, or red. And there's no debris signature with it. What else we got? Got a lot of hail though, so supposedly some softball size hail is coming out of this thing, at least in the past 20 minutes. So that's one thing you're going to run into up here in Burns Flat likely. Let's see, let me take a look upstairs since we got some time. Curious as to what this whole thing looks like. Okay. There is a little hail core up to about 10,000 feet. The storm itself is about 60,000 feet tall. That's a big thunderstorm. It's a really big thunderstorm. Okay, let me look here. Oddly enough, let me do a play. No. What time is that? Okay. There's not any really huge, overly large hail cores with it. I'm surprised by that. Let's see. I'm looking at circulation centers now. Just hang in there with me. So this is the circulation at the ground level, and we're looking up in height, and that travels between this area here. That's your potential tornado zone. Okay. Let's see if everything looks decent on the surface. Nope, that system here continues to fall apart and weaken. The new meso is still trying to get going, so if you guys are north of Sentinel by about 3 miles, you probably still have eyes on a wall cloud. But that's about all you're going to get out of that. So we're kind of in a null spot right now of activity. Okay, what do we got here? Down in Willow, we have a convergence line of wind, which is here and here. And that's all we have at this point in time. Alright, anything else catches my eye? We're going tornado hunting right now, and we're coming up empty. And that's a really good thing. Let's keep it that way. Alright, let's take a look up north. Let's see if anything up here has changed. Okay, the circulation around Ames, north. We took a look at that new area that was about 1, 2, 3 miles, 4 miles north. In the last scan, it's gotten a little tighter. So, right here, could have a little funnel or a little tiny wall cloud looking appendage out of that. This would be on East Road 490 coming up on 2740. So that's the location of that potential developing QLCS tornado. The old one, which is east of Ames, is coming up on the County Line Road, which is 2750 and just south of 510. And let's see, anything up north? Not really. So with this in mind, I was just looking at the Weather Service discussion. So they're going to leave these as severe thunderstorm warnings with potential for a tornado, which is what they call the tornado tag, which means something could happen really quick and within that warning. But because it's the QLCS type, which are very transient, they're weak, very hard to track, very hard to detect. Sometimes after the fact, they just cover it with a severe thunderstorm warning. Because it may never ever produce a tornado, or it just might produce a 10-second one that's on the weak side. You know, we're talking EF0 type deal. Anyway, so this will be west of Drummond. Let me look at the path in this. Basically, right now, moving, looks like more easterly. Yeah, it's pretty much moving due east on 490. So if you're in Drummond, what I would do if I were you, is I would go ahead and just be in my shelters until this little spot of the storm passes. So it's coming up right along 132 and 490 Road west out of town. Like I said, at most, all you may be seeing is maybe a partial funnel or something, but that's where a potential tornado would occur, even though there's no warning for it. That's kind of deals where it can produce a produce a tornado really quick, then a warning comes out, and then the tornado disappears before the warning comes out. It's kind of one of those deals. So you just be proactive and you'll be fine. Let's see, anything else down here in Hennessy? Nope. All right, let's go back to southwest Oklahoma, see if there's still anything down here. The Willow storm has gone from convergence to a little bit better of a look here. Let's see, that potential wall cloud development is going to be on 1970 Road and 1350 Road. And this is just northeast of Willow by about 1.5 miles. The other circulation coming in south of Dill City by 4 miles is just probably a leftover wall cloud. And that's going to be about it. There's nothing on radar. So let's be looking, north of Sentinel. Now I'm sure you're going to see plenty of SCUD, which is scary looking clouds, basically, is the acronym nickname in the weather business, which means just low hanging appendages that a lot of times people miscount them for actual funnel or tornado. But they have to be violently rotating. You trust me, you stare at it long enough. If it's just doing this and not moving, it's not a tornado. If it's doing this and just kind of doing this, maybe, not a tornado. If it's halfway down and it's doing this, tornado. That's as simple as you can define it. Or excuse me, in that case, it's probably a funnel unless it's touching down the ground. But same idea. Okay, so there's going to be a tornado warning issued for this Willow storm here momentarily, just so you know. So again, this will be east of Willow, so there's no threat to you guys. You're already west of it. It'll be coming up on the county line in the Norfolk Red River Stream here momentarily, which will be up along Highway 6. So Highway 6 and the county line road is basically for Greer County, from where it crosses there into Kiowa County is the path of that. So it's this red line right here. So like I said, it'll kind of cross over both counties here on the northern tip and then over Highway 6. So this is the warning that just popped up with this. And Weather Service continues tornado warning for Ouachita, Kiowa, Greer, and Beckham until 8:30. Storm capable of producing a tornado located near Willow, moving northeast at 35. Tornado and golf ball size hail. Let's see, it's got Sentinel and Retrop as the other towns listed. Okay. So we'll see what happens with that. If anything materializes. Let's go back up here to the north, see if anything new is coming in our Drummond Circulation Center. And same kind of idea, just weak. Okay. By the way, this is the same, whether it's for a QLCS tornado or the supercell type, strong or weak, doesn't matter. It's always the same advice. Stay away from all exterior walls, all outside windows, lowest floor, never upstairs. Never. Never upstairs. Did you hear me? Never upstairs. Second floor, third floor, doesn't matter. Always first floor. Center part of the building or the home or whatever that you're in. Okay, Drummond. You guys have that circulation center just on the north side of town, and it's about a half mile north up the road on 132. So stay in your shelters for that. And then the other one, let's see. We do have some interesting circulation features around Lahoma, just to your west. It's not something that screams of anything too significant, just some broad rotation within that. But, something might happen out of that situation. Just kind of keep an eye on it. Again, there's no tornado warnings for that. Just so you know. Just broad rotation with that. Otherwise, the Drummond one I'd definitely be in my shelters for. Okay, let's see. Back down here to southwest Oklahoma for you guys in Cordell. This thing's still trucking along, but it's on the weakened side. The one here in south of Willow, that's already changed its look just in the last few minutes to a weaker appearance. So we'll see what happens at the surface, but right now it doesn't look like it did a moment ago. So the old circulation is around Dill City, so if anything, you probably got a ragged wall cloud. That's about 2 miles south-southeast on the little Elk Creek stream. That's about all you're going to get with that. And let's see. Alright, I'm going to split this panel again. A lot of times you'll see I'll do a split panel. This is because as a radar meteorologist, I need as much data as I can. So rather than looking at reflectivity, which is what you'll normally see on TV, which is just the heavy rain cores, and sometimes they'll flip over to velocity every now and then, I can do them both simultaneously side by side so I can correlate the movement and know exactly what it is I'm looking at. And sometimes I'll do a 4-panel. A 4-panel is going really interesting. It's going to be harder to see, like a 4-panel like this. So I can zoom into, what do we have of interest here? Okay, let's go to Dill City, for example. So I can go look at the same storm, same location. This little square peg will centralize the anchor point for each one of those. And so I can look at reflectivity, which is called Z. I can look at velocity up here. I can look at the cross correlation coefficient, or the what we call the debris signature. And then I can look at the rotational mesocyclone tracks, or the rotation tracks for the the tornado, whatever it may be, depending on how high the beam is. So those are 4 panels I can look at simultaneously as a radar meteorologist, operational, to detect hazards and what grabs my eye as something concerning. It's just it's smaller on the screen, so it's going to be harder for you to see unless you're blowing this up on an 80-inch television like most of you are now starting to do, which is really cool. You don't have to look at your little phone anymore. You can just put me up on the big screen through my YouTube channel. It's all in. It's either in 720 or 1080p, depending on which mode I'm broadcasting in. But with HD quality, you'll be able to see a lot better. So just a tip, pro tip there, if that interests you. You can do that from like a Roku or an app itself, based on that comes with the TV. There's various methods. You can do your phone and mirror cast it. You can do Chromecast, Apple AirPlay, all that kind of stuff. So that's how I would watch this coverage, just so you can see everything better, if you have the opportunity. Okay, I think I'm going to move. Let's see. No, I don't need that right now. Let's go back here to northern Oklahoma. So Drummond had a report of 70 mile per hour winds. 70. Now, when I look at this radar velocity data, I see 38 and 32. So you're going, well, how do you get 70? From a tornado. So let's say that little weak circulation that came in there, and you can add, the rotational velocity from both ends to get that kind of a wind report. So I'm not surprised. So we're looking about 1,700 feet with that potential tornado. So now 70 is a very weak. That's the F0 category, but that's expected with this situation. But that's why I was telling people there in Drummond to be in their shelters for that purpose. Let me try something here. Okay. That little circulation around Willow, I can't even find it anymore. It's not even there. We still got the old one around Dill City. That's moving. Whatever's left of any ragged structure to cloud cover is actually moving now through the city area. Again, you're officially under a tornado warning, so you should be in your shelters, but just letting you know that's the latest with that. And the location is right along the creek, Little Elk Creek stream, just east of there. It's actually pretty much due south and west of the city, on the southwest side of town. Excuse me. City, town, I speak in the same language for both. Okay. All right. So at this point, I don't see any tornadoes in Oklahoma. There's a tornado warning for the eastern Texas Panhandle for near Wellington, and that track is heading up to the northeast behind all this other nonsense. So I don't see how it's going to maintain its warning for that reason alone. So I wouldn't be too concerned with it if you live out here near western Beckham County. Okay. Alright, so I think what happened was here, I was waiting for some new radar data to come in from this radar up here in northern Oklahoma, and it looks like it's offline. I was wondering why I hadn't got any new updates from it. So I'll have to switch over to central Oklahoma. So that radar's dead. Probably took a lightning strike, and the backup generators didn't kick in like they're supposed to, and that can happen sometimes. So we'll flip on over. Now, unfortunately, that radar was a lot closer to those storms there in northwest Oklahoma. So we won't get as low as a look downstairs, but it is what it is. So that little circulation, yeah, that looks better on this radar as it was going through Drummond. This is just east, right here, around the creek, just east of town. Let me see how that looked as it was going through town. So it was kind of developing as it was going through town, and then moved east, had a nice couplet there for a moment. So we probably had a small EO0 tornado go through Drummond, and then looks like it's kind of reformed here just east, coming up north of Wacomas on 81, west of 47th East-West Road. So about 2 miles west of that intersection on South Oakwood Road. So there's where that potential tornado is located. And let's see, we're up at 5,000 feet, so we're pretty high. It's a lot harder to track those type of tornadoes at that elevation. But it is what it is. Okay, what else we got down here? There is a little circulation here northwest of Bison, it appears, on leading edge, East Road 540 and 2850, that's south Wacomas. So this would kind of rotate north and east, passing close to Wacomas, and that's assuming it actually holds up and does something, which is a big assumption. It'd be a QLCS. So Dover, nothing there yet. All right, the Cordell thing. Remember, we had looked at that area. Let's see, where are we now? Cordell. So question is, you guys need to be in your shelters or whatever. I can still tell you that the residual circulation from that is long gone, and what's left would be some kind of ragged wall cloud somewhere in this area. That's all you'd get, and that's on the northeast side of Dill City. So, okay, back down here to this region east of Willow. Sorry, I got nothing for you. No tornadoes there. That's a good thing, though. Tornado warning still remains in effect, so again, never disregard a tornado warning. But I can at least help you breathe a little better knowing that as you're taking shelter, there's currently no tornado with that. Could that change? Sure. But right now, that's the case. And sometimes this environment, it can change pretty quickly. Alright, so there's that. If you're watching from Oklahoma City, you know, we got nothing going on here. It's quiet. These storms are way out west in the western parts of the state, and they're still a couple hours away just from even getting into Canadian County and, you know, closer to, say, El Reno. And these southern storms will take even longer. So these will take longer to kind of move east and then slightly drift northeast. And these northern guys here, you know, this line here is going to be moving east too. So it's just going to be a minute. So the line will actually come in kind of diagonal. So it's going. I mean, the models earlier had it not even getting in Oklahoma City, the west side of town, until about 11 o'clock to midnight. So kind of gives you an idea. Okay, let's take a look back down here. So we did have, let's see, is this noise or is this going to be true data? Just a minute. Looks like noise. So that's probably noise from some side load contamination. All right. I'll keep an eye on that though. Yeah. All right. Back up here to the north, take a quick peek. Nothing. That old couple circulations we had around Wacomas, that's all gone. Nothing. There might be one here southwest of Hennessy, a couple of them. Possible. So would be one in this location of the storm and this location, which is co-located with this and this. So Hennessy at this point in time, this guy here would be a nice wall cloud slash funnel looking appendage probably coming in the southwest side of town. So no official tornado warning with this, but this would be kind of one of those deals that can turn into a quick QLCS tornado. Even if it quite doesn't come to the ground, it could produce a little bit of wind. That's what we had in Drummond. They had a 70-mile-per-hour wind. Whether or not there was an actual tornado with it, I'm not sure, but the velocity data looked impressive there for a split second. Okay, so new data just came in. It's already gone. That's how fast these things go. Man, they're so hard. That's why sometimes it's pointless to issue a warning. Because let's say this right here was producing a funnel. Okay, normally you get a tornado warning out of that from the National Weather Service. So they issue the warning, takes a few seconds, goes through the system, goes out to all the users, the products. You get it on your weather app, your phone, and then the next scan comes in a minute later from the radar, and guess what? It's gone. So they got a tornado warning for something that doesn't exist, and that can happen a lot with QLCS tornadoes. So they're very difficult to warn for. So sometimes you don't get warnings, and that's the main reason. It's not because they can't see or they don't know it. It's just the structure of the system doesn't allow for rapid warning, dissemination, detection, and action. There's too much that goes on from the radar side, time side, human involvement, product side, output side, and 1 minute and all that is and it's all changed. Trust me, they're frustrated because they don't have a good solution. So don't get frustrated with them. It's not they're not doing their job. It's an impossible thing to do. It really is. I mean, so basically what you would have to have is this. You would have to have a guy or gal, whatever, a meteorologist basically, holding your hand minute by minute and just tracking them. Okay, here it is, it's gone. Here it is, it's gone. Here it is, it's gone. And that's your tornado warning. And that's really how you'd have to approach this. And the Weather Service is not in the business of doing broadcast meteorology. Will that change over time? It might. It might have to. They might have to adapt. But for right now, they leave that to the media partners to do. Okay. Let's go back down here to southwest Oklahoma. No. Okay, let's go back up here to Dill City. So west of Cordell by 1, 2, 3, 4 miles, the residual wall cloud structure in this zone, and that's all you're going to see. You won't get a funnel out of that. You will not get a tornado out of that. And it hasn't done anything of consequence in the last 20 minutes, just so you know. It's done nothing. It's broad, it's weak. So if things don't change here in a couple of minutes, I'm going to sign off, and I'll get back on if there is another substantial tornado threat. The only one right now of any chance, it appears to be out here in southwest Oklahoma with this storm system coming into Sentinel. But even then, it really doesn't seem to do much. It's going to get dark soon, so all the storm chasers and what they're able to see is going to go pretty close to zero. Anytime you got a storm chase off of lightning flashes and you think you see something but you're not sure, accuracy of that information takes a nosedive. I mean, it has to be clear, cut, easy to see, you know. And sometimes you can get that, and then a lot of times you can't. Especially in a very wet environment where things are rain wrapped or they're mixed in with the rain on the leading edge. There's just a lot of difficulties in chasing. So the big take home still for this whole week and this event and any rain after this point is flash flooding. There will be a lot of flash flooding with these types of storm systems. The squall lines produce a lot of rain. For example, here's a report come in from 9 inches for 100 feet covers a roadway in various stretches this way. Okay, that's really bad English, but I think the point is he's got about 9 inches of water over the roadways, the way I kind of took that. Here's 10 to 15 inches of water running over Highway 152. Okay, that's better. We've got 10 to 15 inches of water running over Highway 52 from a couple of different people in this area west of Dill City. So that's over a foot of water running over a highway. So when we say turn around, don't drown, that's the reason. A lot of times that can wash out a road. When that happens, you have no idea. You drive right through it, and you happen to be on this guy right here, which looks like a creek, you're in trouble. So, just let you know. Okay, so this little circulation center, although still weak, has decided to organize a little bit more and tighten up between here and here. So, a little bit of a closer couplet trying to develop west of Cordell. We'll see if that trend continues. Let's see, down here in Sentinel, just really broad convergence, but not necessarily rotation. So let's kind of keep an eye on it. All right, let's go back up here to the north. We got going up here in Dover, Kingfisher, all this stuff looks good. Enid. Okay, you're all good up there. I'm going to see if this radar's back online. See what happens. I'm going to try it out. Okay, nope, this radar's still having problems disseminating data. So it may not be so much, it may just have a comm issue. Let's see, there we go. There's a new update that came in. Okay, so this one's having a communication issue. So they've been having a lot of flooding up here, so who knows what's happening. It could be water in the line, it could be a generator issue, there's no telling. Water in the line does some bad things to data transmissions. Okay, let's see. Garfield, Fairmont. Some potential QLCS type activity might be trying to develop in this area west of town, about 3-4 miles, just southeast of Enid. So it'll be coming up on 64 and South 78th Street here in a second. Currently located over East Southgate Road and 66th Street. Up north, don't see anything. Let's see, what about Medford? In Medford, there was just maybe a little indention there going through the town. It's got some wind with it. This little pink area is 62 miles per hour. So there you go. There is a little, there's a little weak couplet with that. So that could be a small, little wall cloud area, potential funnel, but definitely some wind with that one. So, matter of fact, Weather Service just pointed that out. Small couplets near Medford and Kremlin. So that takes care of that one. Yeah, here's one over Kremlin. Let's see where we're at East Road 300 and 2930. It's actually a pretty strong couplet for this one. This one probably has a potential for actual tornado right now versus any of the others I've seen. And category B, a for sure strong EF0 and looks like a weak EF1 with this one. So this one, this tornado, looks like it's actually probably occurring. It's got some strange reflectivity structure behind it I haven't seen all night. Let me see if there is a cross correlation coefficient in blue. Let's see, but that was already there. So that's not from our guy, unless something's, yeah, it's not from our guy, it's just from noise. Okay, this is all noise. This is some artifacts coming in the data. Well, you don't want to see artifacts in the middle of an area looking for circulation for a tornado. That'll give you a false warning. That's why you got to look at all these different products. If you just look at one thing and scream tornado, you'll be wrong. Okay, so could be wind farms up there, triggering all that. Actually, that's probably what that is. Wind farms and radar do not go well together. I despise wind farms for that purpose alone. If you take away the fact they kill all the birds and they're an eyesore and they take up land, the other issue is for radar meteorology, it blocks radar beams from detecting tornadoes. There's a lot of negatives on wind farms, besides the fact they can't store energy. So, but hey, we got them, so yay. It's a whole nother topic. All right, let's go up here to Medford. What's going on here? This guy. So you got some strong winds on it. The couplet, though, has diminished as far as its closeness. And it's now about 2 miles outside of town on Jackson Road. And it looks like 2980. Go down the line here. That Kremlin one, I can't even find it. It's buried in the noise of the wind farms. So if it still exists, you won't be able to see it because the wind farms have hosed us. Thanks, wind farms. All right, we're going to go down to west of Fairmont. I don't see anything there anymore. There is, I guess, some residual circulation right here. Not apparently very strong. 78th Street and Southgate Street. Let's see what we got here in Dover. I think this is an artifact as well. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's an artifact. We'll ignore that one. Okay, so for northern Oklahoma, this is what we got to work with. Let's go down to southwest. Okay, a lot of noise here at the radar beam as well. All right. What about Cordell? What that one end up turning out? Nothing. All right, rotation tracks. All right, they're going nuts off this fake data. Yeah, they're going nuts off of fake data. Ain't nobody got time for that. All right, so ignore that. Okay, so nothing happened in Southwest Oklahoma either. Matter of fact, the tornado warnings are gone too, so that's good. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up here momentarily. Look up here. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So, like I say, these QLCS type tornadoes, they're gonna happen. It's just the nature of the beast with this squall line. If they become more numerous and they get into better radar coverage here in central Oklahoma, I might come back on it to try to cover those real time. But other than that, it's turning into a big rainmaker, and which of course leads to flash flooding. So I wish I had better news for you guys, but it's terrible for you guys in Rocklahoma. Hey, look, you gotten most of the event dry. You're only having to deal with certain hours. It's mostly late. Tonight will be no difference. It'll be after midnight. You're going to have the heavy storms move through, and then clears out in time for the morning. You guys do it all over again. But so it's muddy as all get out, I'm sure, over there. I don't know anything else. I haven't paid attention, so I don't know if there's been any problems other than that. But just from the weather aspect, that's what I know. Let's see. Just look at the radar real quick before I turn you loose. Make sure, because my biggest pet peeve is whenever I sign off and then something happens last minute, I got to sign right back on. But that stuff can happen. Okay, so that's kind of the way things look. Like I said, Oklahoma City is quiet. I'll continue to watch things here behind the scenes and try to squeeze in an evening, and then we'll go from there. But thanks for watching, for following, liking, and sharing my posts, for supporting me through the Facebook fan subscriptions or through Patreon or many other methods I've got for you. You can get more information on this broadcast itself in the description, or you can also go to my website, aarontuttle.com, and there's a donate tab on there. That's give you plenty of options. Let's see, what else? My weather app is kicking it. I mean, you guys have been sending me tons of screenshots of how it's been warning you. That's awesome. It's called AT's Weather to Go. It's free, Apple, Google Play. Just search for AT's Weather, and it should populate. But download that to your phone. Anything else? I think that's it. So we'll go from here. But you guys be careful of the water, though, and the flooding. If you live in a flood-prone area of already getting flooding, unfortunately, that's going to be worse. I don't have any better news for you with that regard. But like I said, I'll come back on if we have a more numerous tornado situation and kind of go from there. All right? If not, that's good. That means you won't see me, and we'll talk again soon. Good night.